Well, whilst we are waiting for some people to join us, Mark, just thank you so much for joining us this evening. Really, really appreciate your time. I know you're still in school, which you just said a minute ago, so thank you so much for joining us. I guess to start with, Mark, tell us your amazing story and how you've come to create your own school.
Yeah, good evening, Ben. Thank you. Yeah, so as my name is Mark Escott. I'm the CEO and co-founder of an organisation called Life Chance, and we're a therapeutic education provider that specialises in working with young people who've experienced trauma in their life. And we're really committed to transform the life chances of the young people and families we work with, and do that in three major ways. So firstly, it's through our growing chain of therapeutic day schools called School for Inspiring Talents. And we also have Life Chance Care, which is our multidisciplinary team, our team of therapists that work across our own schools and then also support our local community and do outreach clinics to other schools in Devon and Cornwall. And we have Life Chance Training that delivers training to multi-professional audiences around behaviour issues, children's mental health and children affected by trauma, and that was set up in January this year. So we've done a lot of stuff online recently, as a lot of people have through Zoom.
Yeah, I bet.
So the organisation's been running it's in its 7th year now, and so we've got 4 school sites, and also all the children referred from local authorities who've experienced sort of high levels of trauma in their lives. So things like physical, emotional, sexual abuse, domestic violence, drug and alcohol abuse in the families, parents in prisons, and sort of things like that. So they've got quite a lot of stuff going on for them. But one of the reasons why I'm really passionate about it, I'm not saying you want to tell me to butt in, Ben, and just shut up.
No, you carry on.
And,
on a roll.
I was one of these kids, so I grew up in a world where there was a lot of poverty. My mum was only 18 when she got pregnant with me. I'm very, poor council estate background. Didn't do too well at school. There's a history of abuse, physical, emotional, sexual abuse in my own family. Excluded from school. I was more interested in skiving off and basically drinking and taking drugs by the time I was 16, and then ended up in the criminal justice system. And ended up living in a probation hostel for young men on probation by the time I was 18 years old. Serving a 2 year suspended sentence. And I just remember that was that sort of crossroads phase of, there was just something that clicked, and it clicked because I had a really good mentor. There was one of the probation officers there just took me under his wing. Another man called Fred Erisman, I did work experience, from being with the probation services, and this man Fred Erisman was another really strong mentor of mine, took me under his wing and just started to show me there was another way. And I realised that I wanted to go on a different path. And so I started training as a counsellor in my early, by the time I was 20, 21, in my early 20s. I trained as a counsellor and worked my way up. Volunteering right the way up to setting up my own school, and now being the CEO and running the school and the whole organisation. So that's a very little snapshot of the journey.
We've gone through quick to jump down and open the school.
There was lots of training as a counsellor and drugs worker. I went and worked in schools. My first job was as a mentor in schools, working as a teaching assistant as well. So I really enjoyed being with all my staff because I've done, I know what it's like. I know the importance of all of those. And I still can learn more now from sat with my teaching assistants than I can with sat with some of my leadership team. They probably won't like that to hear me saying that
now. We'll cut that bit out. We could talk for at least half an hour just on you opening a school, but a few questions, I guess, specifically around that. What was the moment you sort of said there was that moment in time that something clicked for you in terms of getting you out of the system that you were in to becoming what you are now, I guess? But when was the moment when you thought, actually, I can start a school? What triggered you to start thinking along those lines?
I was doing some work in education already. I was working as an advanced skills teacher, doing stuff, working around schools, supporting teachers with young people with behaviour problems. So not mentoring around that. And I came across, this is the late 90s, I came across a study from 2 doctors, Dr. Vitelli and Dr. Anda, in America, who'd done a study on ACEs, adverse childhood experiences It's the
Yeah,
biggest
yeah,
experience. A study that had been happening in America in the late 90s. And what they found is that young people who experience adverse childhood experiences, so things like, as I talked about the kids in my school, physical, emotional, sexual abuse, domestic violence, drug and abuse in the families, parents in prison,
yeah,
um, parents who are separated as well, children who experience death in the family. So they've explored all this and actually looked at the impact that had on young people's sort of emotional and mental health, and then started to look at the long-term impact on their physical, emotional, and health as they went through life.
yeah, yeah.
And there's some, so we look at the UK, and I was just studying America, there have been studies in England, so just under 50% of the UK population have experienced at least one ACE, adverse childhood experience. So 23%
Okay.
have experienced one, 16 have
Right.
experienced 2 to 3, and 9% have experienced 4 or more.
Right.
And then if you start looking at, if you've experienced 3 ACEs, you're 3 times more likely to have academic failure.
Okay.
5 times more likely to have attendance problems.
Yeah.
6 times more likely to have behavioural problems.
Yeah.
And if you have 4 ACEs or more, which is a lot of the children we work with who quite often, like they call it as an ACE score of like maybe between 6 and 8 at these experiences they've had quite a lot. So they're like 32 times more likely to have behavioural problems, 4 times more likely to have been 4.5 times more likely to have developed depression. Then they come into the suit. So 11 times more likely to have used drugs. 6 times more likely to have unplanned teenage pregnancy. 11 times more likely to have been incarcerated. So you look at the prison population, a lot of the prison population have had 4 more ACEs.
Right.
And if you have 4 more ACEs, you're going to start getting involved in risk-taking behaviours as well that affect not only your mental health, but your physical health.
Yeah.
So looking after people's emotional health and then also their physical health is really important. Let's say the work that you do is just like, it's really sort of looking after that balance of physical and mental health for young people to help balance all this work out. So that when I read that study, my whole life flashed in front of my eyes, and I realised that I wasn't a bad person, that I was involved in the criminal justice system. I haven't been a drug addict. I've been a cocaine addict, and I've given up that and all that. But I still had this underlying there was something wrong with me, and then all of a sudden I realised I wasn't. And there was just this moment. I just wanted to work with young people, and realised if I went to a school where they knew this, what a difference it would be. I just had this crazy idea with a friend of mine, Dave Strudwick, that we'd set up a school.
Amazing.
And then we just sat down in the name School for Inspiring Talents, because we realised that if these young people are really talented. So it sort of came from there, really, the idea.
Yeah. So it's an amazing story and amazing what you've done. Obviously, I've been down to the school to visit, and it's an incredible place. Just walking around with you, visiting the site, it was just mind blowing, really, to visit somewhere that I'd never knew existed, to be quite honest. And I think a couple of things that you mentioned there around sort of behaviours within a parameter that these children are dealt. So they're obviously a product of the environment that they live in, right? You said about these ACEs and the environment that they're born into, and their parents perhaps, and other children that they interact with. So that mentoring thing as well that you said really struck a chord with me, because I guess that's one of the key ways that children or young adults can potentially snap out of that way of life if they have somebody, a strong role model or mentor that can guide them down a different path. Is that the way that you see it?
Exactly. I mean, look at the sort of ACEs, the biggest, around the study, the thing that actually helps young people stay safe is, so it's not always about what's happened to you. It's around the people around you. So it's your experience of how you interpret that traumatic event. So if you don't have emotionally available adults around you to help buffer you against these experiences, you're just going to get worse and worse and worse. And that's what happened to me. So like you say, we're having really strong mentors, these emotionally available people around them that can help them buffer them against these events and coach them through it. So again, through the ACE study and the work that I do, I realized that a big part of my life was being mentored by who's a very close friend of mine now, Fred Erisman. He's I think just 10, 12 years older than me, was working, he mentored me and took me under his wing and believed in me. And I think, works for boys and girls, but as a lad, it really meant a lot to me.
Yeah, yeah.
So exactly that. So mentoring and all, there was a lot in the, so there's a lot of our young people, a lot of the staff that work with us have come from sporting backgrounds as well, because they really get that mentoring and coaching thing. So there's a lot of and they say the behaviour in our schools. So we see behaviour as a communication of unmet need.
Yeah.
So it's like a sign language. So these young people are telling us how they're feeling through their behaviour.
Yeah.
So, so it's not that we just let them get away with it, but some of the ways that they've been in schools and been punished and excluded in detentions just don't work for these young people with high levels of trauma.
Yeah.
To give them more space to, so being outside and doing lots of physical activities, like sports activities and our sort of forest school stuff works really well. As you said, when you came to visit us, we're really lucky. And we have
amazing site. Yeah, gorgeous.
We get outside and just work, and that's it. We'll be outside with young people. But it is that behaviour is communication of unmet need. One of the things I've never ever forgot. One of my mentors, one of my trainers, was as a behaviour therapist. And he taught me that anger is just fear announced. And
I like that.
Because that a lot of my anger as a young man is I was bloody scared. I didn't know how to express it. So if we see these young people getting aggressive, I think we just read it differently to maybe some other people and give them the space to be themselves.
Yeah, and I know, I mean, you've obviously got a school that have these children that have had ACEs, and that are the only children that attend your school, and some of our coaches who are a coaching team of 10 that are going out into primary schools on a daily basis, they may teach one or a handful of children, as you're saying, during the school day. But around behaviour, so it's fascinating what you're talking about around, you don't want to meet that kind of behaviour with shouting or aggressive behaviour to try and calm those children down. And one of the biggest things that we try and help our coaches with in the early stages of their development is just try and have a bit of empathy of where those children are coming from, because there's probably something behind that behaviour that's causing them to do that. And we always say about the period leading up to Christmas and the period leading up to the summer holidays. Obviously, this summer is going to be very different, but those long periods at home, that those children don't necessarily want to be at home. They'd rather be at school because it's their safe place. It's where they enjoy being the most. They're with their friends. They're with people that they trust, and they're with those role models. So we try and work with our coaches exactly what you're saying. Obviously not at such a high level, but really interesting.
In this present climate with the COVID-19 and what's happening, say, with children being home for such long periods of time, as you said, I think these approaches that we use in our school and you use around the coaching are going to become more important.
Yeah.
Because it's like, none of us quite know what we're going back to.
No.
They talk about, riding this emotional roller coaster. And that phrase, it really made sense to me. We're doing a lot of webinars with some of the local schools. So a lot of people, they really get what we did, and it was with a really niche group of young people.
Yeah.
But what we're understanding now is we're probably going to see more young people coming back to school that have experienced traumatic events.
Yeah.
With domestic violence, there's people talking about more domestic violence at home. There's been parents that may be using drugs and alcohol more in the house. So there's the sort of things that we talk about, these adverse childhood experiences that will be happening. So I think we need to look at a different way of being with these young people, and then looking at how we interpret their behaviour. That phrase again, behaviour is communication of unmet need.
Yeah.
The need may be they need me to be, help them to calm down, to be heard, to be listened to. Communicating that to us, and they're scared. That phrase again, anger is just fear announced. Some of these kids are scared. So they're going to tell us they're scared in their behaviour, because a lot of the young people who have been through traumatic events, they don't, and young people in general don't always have that emotional maturity to tell you. Even better, as it goes on. But as adults, we don't do it. I'm sure my wife will tell you sometimes I don't have the emotional capacity to tell you. but it's around helping these young people. And I think all of us in education, in whichever form, have got
a massive role to play. Huge. And do you know what you sort of said about the role of sport and PE, and obviously, as you know, that's my background and what we do as a company. But it always amazes me the ability of a PE teacher, or good one, to develop a rapport with children. I don't know what it is. I think it's, like you said, that experience of working with a team and coaching people and interacting with children in that way. But there's always, and actually during my PGC, one of my mentors on my first day at a school on placement said to me, your challenge is to make PE every child's favourite lesson of the week. And I was like, oh, great, no pressure then. But it stuck with me. And it was always my sort of one of my things that I thought, I'm going to make this lesson something that all the children look forward to, and they look forward to spending time with me in the lesson, and I'll build that rapport with them, especially with those challenging children, right? If you can build that rapport with them and you find out what their favourite things are at the weekend, what football team they support, what games they play on at home, Minecraft or whatever the current games are, then you've got that instant relationship. I know we're going off piste a little bit here, but I just want to talk about that mentorship thing. And I work with this child who his dad was in prison, as you said, was quite a common thing for the children you work with. Drug issues in the family, but he was the nicest boy. He wasn't the most talented sports person, but intelligence-wise, he was a natural-born leader in PE lessons. So we ran this gifted and talented club, in which we basically brought all the sporty children from the area together to compete and train with each other to try and sort of bring them on a bit. And I took him with me, and I had to drive him there. I drove him home and dropped him off just because he had no other way of getting there. But his journey from primary school right the way through, I always look forward to seeing him, and he always looked forward to my lessons. But now I've not seen him for years, but by all accounts, he's gone on to do really well at secondary school. And I'm not taking credit for that, but like you said, you found that mentor in your life. And I think it's every teacher's job to try and be that, especially to those children that don't have role models at home, because they are looking for guidance.
And so sometimes these young people, as you look back in life, so I do a lot of work with teachers, we look back and we do some stuff, we look back at teachers that meant a lot to us. And what we realise is we don't actually always remember what they taught us.
Yeah, that's true.
Remember how they left us feeling.
Yeah.
Like if I met that young lad and asked him about you, he might not remember the games that he played and the sports that he played, but I bet I can guarantee that he said, oh, Sir liked me, Sir was there for me, and it's like, I think that's the thing, that how these children have memories, how we left them feeling. So that getting to know, as a therapeutic school, everything's built in relationships with us. It's all around building relationships for us. Teaching's that in general. You said that you just explained a great example of it. It was getting to know that young person, sometimes being next to them in the car when they can't have eye contact is really easy for them to share with you and tell you things. But that building that relationship, I think any teacher will tell you that the students that do the best are the ones that we know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get them, and they know that everyone knows whether you're being authentic or not.
Yeah.
So I really hear that and say that mentoring role is really important. And I'm sure, like I say, this young man will go on and have those memories like I do of those people in my life. People.
Yeah.
And it's really, say, when I do the workshops with teachers, we do a session at the end of the day where we do look back, and it's really moving when you start seeing that whole room look at. There's always someone, and it's like a teacher or a scout leader or a football coach, and it's always the same kind of people with that coaching role that come up. We do think we'll have to draw it and write the attributes of that person around the edge of the page, and it's always that kind of person that you were talking about.
Yeah. And there's always that chance, isn't there? I mean, you can, if you impact one child's life you're going to impact a lot of children's lives, but I mean that one child who it might have a tricky path to go down, let's say, but if you manage to trigger something in them and think, oh, actually, I'm really good at this, and I love playing football, or I love being a leader in my basketball club, or whatever it might be. And from us, from a sporting aspect, I mean, our mission, as you know, is to try and raise physical activity levels, but it's not just that, it's to try and make it fun and enjoyable so that these children make those lifelong choices, healthy choices throughout their life. And it's the same principle with what you do, but not necessarily just around health and fitness, it's around their life, like you said, life chance education, trying to inspire those children to make the right choices, I guess.
I love the ACE studies again. They were talking around, we talked about the emotional impact, but the physical impact on the body. People that the levels then start going down for possible heart disease, liver disease, cancer, obesity.
Yeah.
And the original study was done with people who were obese in America. And it was just like, when they started to actually look at obesity and started going back and people, and they started to realise that a huge percentage of people with obesity have been abused. So there has to be a real combination of the sort of looking at the emotional support and physical support for young people in education, the exercise and nutrition as well. Like looking at, because it's something I really struggle with, that physical side of nutrition and looking after myself as a young man. I didn't know how to do that. I have to do that by the mentors that looked after me as well. So it's so important that we do that. But again, it's around relationships, as you say. There's a stealth-like approach to this as well.
Yeah.
With these young people. Play is really important as well. It was good because as we go back into schools now, I think that whole thing of play is really important. We use there's a doctor called Dr. Dan Hughes who uses an approach called PACE. It's playfulness, acceptance, curiosity, and empathy is what it stands for.
Right, nice.
So we use that in our setting. So I think this is going to be that approach, so that PACE approach, playfulness, acceptance, curiosity, and empathy will be really important for young people in schools as these young people come back from, let's say some schools are open today, but schools like ours and other special schools have continued to stay open during the whole COVID-19 experience. But play is a very important part of getting back to just expressing how we're feeling, and and I don't mean just I've got children. My children are young. I've got stepdaughters who are adults now.
Yeah.
My kids are 3 and 5. But I also mean, I've been saying to some of the secondary schools we've been working with, I think we need to look at using this approach with some of the kids when they come, the teenagers when they come back. We all need to learn to play together. I think if we expect young people to come back straight back in and get back into the curriculum in day one, I think we may be a little upset.
Yeah. And by play, do you mean sort of, I guess, not just play as necessary, but interacting with one another and being able to hold conversation with their friends again?
Yeah, I mean, being sometimes just being in a playground together, and so there's the players in the structured activity. Little kids play games, older kids play structured activities, board games, but just there's a structure that brings you together. You get to interact with each other.
Yeah.
And that playfulness, PACE of playfulness, acceptance, curiosity, and empathy. So that whole approach to being empathy, to really there being listening to these children, what it's been like for them to be locked in.
And I know a lot of those children, as you say. So I mean, some of the more fortunate ones that have gardens or supportive parents that would take their children out for walks, etc., might come back to school similar place to where they left it, but there will be children that have done nothing, no home learning, no exercise, they've eaten poorly, they've not had their free school meals necessarily, so they'll be coming back to a school, it'll be very different for them.
I say it's because it's new for all of us. I say we've been used to being away for 6 weeks. Like you were saying, there's the bit of the build up to Christmas, there's the build up to the summer, and all of us as teachers know what those times are like. And at the moment, we're quite unsure what it will be like to come back, after the summer now and stuff like that. But it is that new normal is a phrase that's been used around a lot as well. But one of the things that we've been working with the teaching is around just creating a space as teachers where we can actually share this as well. We use a lot of supervision and coaching in our organisation with our staff. So people have access to one-to-one supervision and coaching. We've been doing weekly group supervisions all the way through the COVID-19 process with our staff. And I mean, a lot of that has been on Zoom to start with, and now we're still we're still running some of it on Zoom. Like, so some of the we've got a percentage of our staff back in, but we've still got some staff that are shielding. So we make sure that we use Zoom so no one misses out. But they've had a lot of time to talk through what it's like, and being at home for summer was really tough. And I found it really tough trying to run the schools from my bedroom, my desk dining board, and I really struggled to be a dad, a stepdad, a husband, and a CEO, a head teacher, all in the same environment. So I think acknowledging that for people. When we were sharing just before we came on that my little boy goes back to school tomorrow, the reason it's tomorrow is because his school, all the teachers are having a day together. And I really like that. I was really happy that they've all wanted to come back and spend a whole day together, teacher training, that day together before they started looking after my little boy again. I thought that was really like a mature attitude to take. So they could deal with their own anxieties today and get a look at that and not have to try and do that at the same time as looking after all the students.
Yeah, I was going to say there'll be anxiety with the teachers and staff, but equally with the children, I guess. I mean, have you experienced anxiety with the children coming back into your school?
A little, but I think, like I say, because we weren't closed for as long.
Sure, yeah.
But there are a few that are coming back now that we're starting to see more high levels of anxiety as they've been at home shielded with some, so we're working with that. But I've heard a lot of our young people have just been really glad to be back with us. And as we know, like, you know, schools are staying open for the vulnerable children and children of key workers.
Yeah.
But I think that's something I just want to pick up on. It's just to acknowledge every teacher out there and teaching assistant and, you know, everyone else who works in a school, keeping that machine running. It takes a lot of work, because there's been lots of conversations around schools being closed and schools opening. So the buildings have been closed, but they haven't stopped providing education.
Yeah.
The same value, same purpose, just different delivery.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of them and all of it. It's just like, it's been amazing what everyone's done to keep going. And they have been working tirelessly, you know, at home, trying to be a teacher, a mum, a dad, a husband.
Yeah.
In the same environment. I'm going to say I've done lots of webinars with teachers, and we've been really clear at the start, do not worry about family members coming in or having to go offline. And
yeah.
So yeah, again, just really acknowledge every teacher in the country for what they've been doing as well.
Oh no, absolutely.
Schools have not been closed, or the buildings have been closed, but schools haven't stopped. Teachers have not stopped working.
Yeah, similar to you, I dropped my eldest daughter Izzy off this morning, and the school staff were brilliant. They were all really smiley and very welcoming, reassuring. All the parents that were coming in, there were a few tears from parents coming out, so you could see the anxiety levels of them dropping their children off for the first time. So they've gone foundation just today, foundation going in year 1 next week, then year 6 in a couple of weeks' time. So they've phased it. And I could be more proud of the school that she goes to, and I'm sure every school is the same, that you find out just how strong a group you've got. We have, as well as a coaching team. Our staff have been fantastic, but everybody's pulled together in Izzy's school, and they've been brilliant. They've been really happy. They've been really positive throughout. There's been no negativity, even though I'm sure there are some people that disagree with what's happening today, some people that agree with it, but everybody's pulled together, and they're doing the best job they can for the children, because ultimately that's what it's about, right? That those children, when they come in, have the best experience possible within a different framework and parameters of the day, but those teachers will be fantastic, and they're the best people to make those children happy today, make them feel safe, make them feel secure. And when I picked them up after school today, they're beaming smiles on their faces, and those children that would have been in today, I'm sure, would have had a great day. And hopefully that would have reassured all the parents that were a bit nervous dropping them off for possibly the first time this morning.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, it's around, these young people, they always won't remember what they were taught. They remember how you left them feeling. I think that's really a lot of these young, especially the younger children, don't quite always remember what's been going on, but they will remember how we as adults behaved. How we were with them during this crisis. And I think, again, it's like, that's what's been amazing, is everyone just how they're being with their kids. And I'm sure that not just the teachers, but parents, I've been seeing that with, just helping keep our children calm, in these.
Yeah.
So for me, we see a lot of this, dealing with this sort of experience on a daily basis because of what we do. But, a lot of the countries have to, just really quickly get into being like this and dealing with trauma. There's lots of trauma. So it's happened really quickly. But again, if we keep just being with these young people, doing what we're doing, we can improve their life chances.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really get it. We have an organisation that's called Life Chance, and we're running schools. I think every teacher is improving the life chances of young people. Like I was just saying, that young lad that you talked about, his life chances improve because he remembers you. There are my mentors improve my life chances. So just keep giving people.
Absolutely. Mark, one final thing I want to ask you about, these walking meetings. When did you start doing those?
So
How effective have they been?
they're really good because you came to visit us in Devon, and one of
Yeah,
our is in an old agricultural college called Seal Hain. So
yeah.
that's a beautiful quad. It's built around a quad. And since you visited us, we've opened up another site, and it's an old Victorian house. A Victorian
Oh,
house.
nice. Yeah, I think you said about that. Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful Victorian garden in it as well. And someone made a joke that whenever I was on the phone, I don't sit still. I'm a bit ADHD. I move
Yeah,
around a
yeah.
lot. And and then I just sort of noticed that I do walk around, and it was like, and one day I just was talking to with the HR human resource team. I just said, "Do you mind coming outside?" They were like, "What?" I was like, "Can we just walk? Can we walk around the garden?" And
Yeah,
I remember saying to him, "Well, that was really nice just to not sit at the desk." I remember you
great.
talking just now about that young person that you worked with in the car. So
Yeah,
sometimes when you're next to someone, and like sometimes when I'm looking at someone across the desk, sometimes it can be a bit intimidating and that, but sometimes when you're
yes, yes.
stood next to someone, you can have different conversations. So I know that as a therapist, it's better sometimes with young people as a behaviour therapist. I would, I would sit next to them or not give eye contact, and it would give them the space to share more openly with me. So
Yeah,
with that
yeah.
approach, I just adapted that to. So yeah, it's quite well known that if you're going to have a meeting with me or talk to me, that you will be asked to go out in the garden. And just
No, nice.
so yeah, that we do quite a lot of my executive principles very similar. You see us walking around a
It's
lot. We walk.
amazing. So good.
We talk to people outside as well. So yeah.
Especially in this weather, right? I mean, what better place to have a meeting in a
Have
Victorian garden?
a short meeting. I'll take them out when it's raining.
Yeah, for someone you don't
No
like.
one wants to talk to me, but then I'll get the message across really quickly.
Yeah,
If there's a
yeah,
tree,
that's
in
fascinating.
a couple of minutes, it'll be fine. But no,
I've just started. Sorry, right, go on.
but I'll keep going.
The reason I asked is I've just started. I know we'll talk about your book in a second, which we'll close on. That I've started writing my book, and one of the chapters is around schools kind of being a little bit traditional in the way that they not just hold meetings, but in everything that they do, and trying to break the mold a little bit and trying to get physical activity throughout the day and embed it in there. And I started researching these walking meetings and about Google, and obviously schools don't have the funding that Google do, but they have these bikes that they get around campus with. They've got volleyball courts on site. I just thought, why don't teachers, most schools have got lovely grounds, have a walking meeting?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Our classrooms, we've got our traditional classrooms. They're in three sections. There's a classroom, then there's a middle section which is very sort of, it's got bean bags and cushions, and you can work on the floor. There's a little desk on the floor. You can lay flat and work. And then there's other rooms that are chill out rooms, and they're like sensory rooms. So
Yeah.
if you're stressed, you can go in there. So for us, it was an extension of that. Like, we had these three different rooms. Like, we have quite a high level of staff in our school, so staff can take children outside.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They don't have to be trapped in the classroom. So it was that just natural progression of like, it works really well with the kids. Why don't we do it?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Great.
So yeah, it worked. That's how I was really, when you posted that the other day online, that's why I came back to it. I was like, yeah, go for it. I think we're trying it down there. Yeah, we haven't got the expenses to buy bikes and travel around and stuff like Google yet. But just going outside. Maybe we could borrow one of the kids' skateboards or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, one of those. They've all got scooters. Just borrow those. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Mark. And like I said, Mark has a book which he's actually. Does this still offer still stand, Mark?
I just happen to have one here.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. So yeah, one more live chat. How to support the journey from trauma to transformation. Available on Amazon. So it tells a bit more about that personal story, but it tells about how we opened the school. But it's got some lovely, a lot of my staff have done stuff and have written it as well. So we talk about the day in the life of us and our students. There's some practical tips for teaching staff on how to work with young people who experience trauma. We go into a bit more depth about what ACEs are, and just as I say, maybe you go to. I'm quite upset now that I didn't put a chapter in on walking meetings.
There you go. Maybe that'll be
your book when it's out, and I can read on
book number 2. Oh, well, again, thank you so much, Mark. And if people do want a copy of it, happy to, if they comment in the.
If they comment in it and private, and if they private message you with an address, we'll send them a free copy.
Oh, look at that! See.
There you go. So anyone private message you, let them know, or contact me personally, and we will send you a free copy of the book.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. Mark, I won't take any more of your time, so I'm sure you want to get home to your lovely family. And will no doubt catch up with you soon. Thank you again so much. It's been really enjoyable to speak to you.
Thanks, Ben. Good to see you. Bye.
Take care, Mark. Speak soon.